Thank you for tuning in to another episode of RIA Collective. I'm your host, Charlie Van Derven. We've got a guest today that has a lot of experience in the industry, is going to share with us something about the many paths within financial services. So for those young advisors out there listening, if you're not in the right situation, I talk to a lot of advisors that find themselves under the pressure of quotas and maybe selling firm-specific products and looking for a different route and a truer maybe client relationship. My guest today, who is actually almost a neighbor, about an hour down the road from me, he's been down a lot of different paths. So he's going to share some advice on really the options that you have ahead of you and some great tips for making sure that you're making the most of a great career in financial services. Without further ado, Darren Hinshaw, my friend and almost neighbor. Darren's based out of Orlando, Florida. He's with NBC Securities. Darren, thank you so much for lending us a bit of your time and a lot of your knowledge and experience.
Yeah, Charlie, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. I guess the first thing I'd like to start off with, I really do believe that our industry is amazingly important, is critical to the well-being of the United States, actually the world. One of the things I say, we're probably one of the top 3 or 4 most important things. I think certainly your spiritual advisor is probably more important than we are, whatever that advisor should be. Your doctor's probably more important, right? If he makes a mistake, something goes wrong, and let's face it, then you're dealing with your spiritual advisor. Hopefully then that went well. But what we do is we plan, we help people invest, we help people get through the craziness of the market, the craziness of the news cycle, and hopefully, at least what NBC Securities does and what we try and do with our clients is just keep them on a stable, consistent path. And I really believe that is incredibly important. And I've worked in multiple organizations. So one of the things you were talking about is the path. I got into this business at Merrill Lynch in California. Obviously a great organization. At the time, I really didn't think I had the experience to manage the money. And it was really more of a sales role. And once again, they have wonderful managers over there as well. Came back to Orlando, worked for Charles Schwab, did multiple things. I was there for 11 years. Ended up being on what was known as Schwab Private Client. And essentially what we did is we were portfolio managers for clients. And I had a great time there. I got the CFA designation, which I think the more designations you can get throughout our business, the better off you are. But went through the CFA and then worked as a portfolio manager for BB&T, the bank, on the trust side. So it was a little different than selling, different than managing. And now we're on the trust side, and all my 7, 9, 10, all my licenses went away. And so we managed wealth portfolios, and I probably ended up touching every piece of business in Florida at some point. So move around and go help different clients. So that was wonderful. BB&T bought SunTrust, and then I moved on from there and have been the director of research for NBC Securities for the last 5 years. Amazing organization in Birmingham, Alabama. We are an RIA. We do have an insurance group. We have a bond desk, and have been part of building SMA stock portfolios, giving client advice, doing speaking engagements. We put a weekly piece out, we put a monthly piece out. And this really isn't designed it's not designed for PEs and PEG ratios and return on equity and all that stuff, because most of our clients don't understand that. So again, we try and communicate and get them through the day and the week and say, hey, it's going to be okay. But with all that, I learned some banking skills and how all that worked. And once again, just in my career, those are 4 different institutions. They all do wonderful things. They're great in the business, but each one of those things of those businesses has some strengths and weaknesses. And one of the things I will say about NBC Securities is, as an advisor, if you want to come here, you do not have to do it our way. We have a philosophy. I build core portfolios. We have individual bonds in there. They're balanced. I've got a equity income, a focus. The equity income is a value strategy. We do individual bond portfolios. We believe in ETFs as well. So we don't say, hey, this is the only way we can do it. Who doesn't like low cost and tax efficient following the S&P 500? But we also believe in active management on the stock side. But if you want to come in here and you have a different way of doing things, you as an advisor can choose your own path. And that's one of the things that I think is great about NBC Securities and about our business, right? There's multiple ways of doing it. If you fit into the Merrill Lynch advisor and that structure, and it is more structured, right? And they put a lot of structure around you, and that works for you as an advisor and especially for your clients, knock yourself out. But we also know a lot of people don't fit in the green box all the time. And so you might need a blue box. Go find a blue box is what we would say.
Yeah, agree. Now, you said something early on, Darren, that I'm going to, tongue in cheek, I'm going to push back against. You think a doctor is more important?
Yes.
Now, I've had conversations with advisors over the years, and maybe I'm on a podium while I'm saying it, but listen, if your client, their most important thing is legacy, you're actually more important than the doctor is in that case if it's about second generation wealth and passing that on. A little bit tongue in cheek, but honestly, if it's about the legacy you're leaving for your family, we could maybe argue that a little bit. So
I'm actually, and we can, as long as we're going to do that, you might as well put an attorney in there,
yeah,
get a tax specialist in there. Yes, you can say who's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
yep.
I will say one of the things about doctors every day in their decisions, if they make a mistake, somebody passes away.
Yeah,
Thankfully, legacy, and I'm not saying that legacy isn't important. Like I said, what we do is incredibly important.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Generally, we have a little longer runway than one day to make sure.
Exactly right. I say it tongue in cheek, but we could make a little argument there.
Yeah, and same thing, different doctors. I'm sure we've all have clients that are doctors, because I do actually have some individual clients as well. So I do the portfolio management, but I actually still have clients, and doctors are like anybody else. You have doctors that will follow your advice and need the help. You got other ones that can be do it yourself.
Yep.
That's an okay path for a client too, assuming they're doing it properly and able to steer the waterway effectively and not run on the shores. But doctors are an interesting group, and I've got a couple doctors that are just amazing clients, wonderful to work with.
Darren, when we got acquainted a month ago, one of the things that you said that stood out, and I wanted to make sure that we talked about, was the importance of the relationships you make along the way. So your career has meandered a bit through 4 organizations. Talk a little bit about, again, our listeners are generally, say, a younger advisor that might be looking for advice or confidence to make a move that they might not be comfortable with otherwise. Talk about the importance of the relationships you've made to follow that path that you're on today.
So I think that's probably true for life in general, right?
I agree with you.
When my kids were in elementary school, they would teach the class. And one of the things I would always tell the kids is say, make sure you're friends with everybody, because you never know who 25 years down the line you're going to run into. And they're going to remember if you were nice, and that's just a better way of doing it. But yeah, throughout this business, once again, when I was at BB&T, I'm not a banker, right? I'm not a lender. I met some just amazing individuals who run banks and led BB&T, and now they're at different places. I've got instances where all of a sudden I've got a client, and I'm actually working with one of my friends now. He has a business and he needs to change his banking relationship. And because I've got these relationships, and I'm not asking for, I think a lot of times people say, I want a referral back for everything. I don't.
Yeah.
Give a free, hey, this person is going to take care of you. Go ahead and do it. And over time, I think things will be rewarded back to you. Yeah, and then your managers, the people you work with, it's a small business, right?
It is.
We run into people all the time. Hey, it's good to see you. How you doing? What are you doing? And so, yeah, just relationships, whether it's portfolio managers, whether it's lenders, trust and estate guys. I'm not a trust and estate expert. I understand a little bit about trust and estates, but just enough to say you need to meet an attorney. Financial planners. I worked with one of the greatest financial planners in the world at BB&T, and she has a different skill set and the ability to craft what's needed around a client, especially for legacies like you're talking about. It's amazing. You just gather people that are good, honest, ethical, and get your clients to them when they're needed.
Yeah. And I would say from even the vendor side, right, having served this industry in some capacity for 25 plus years, it's a lot of times, right? Somebody who I worked with 8-10 years ago has a referral for me and I haven't heard from them in almost a decade.
Yes.
Or we worked at one firm and they've moved to another firm and all of a sudden that firm becomes a client. It's those relationships pay dividends over the years for sure.
That's and it's a long relationships, right? Because you did good business with them. You were honest. You were ethical back then, and they will return the favor because they know, you know what? I need to talk to Charlie because I know he's got the answer for my client.
Exactly right. Yeah, very important. Now, you talked about something that I thought was really cool, mentoring a young advisor as well.
Yeah, I'm on several boards here in Orlando. I'm on the Boy Scout board, run the finance committee there, Salvation Army board, which they just do amazing things, Valencia College Foundation board, and they have a mentorship program. I have always, I've mentored some kids through that program, through high school, get them to college. I've got my first mentee is going to be pre-med. He's an amazing human being. But also when I got here, I was explaining portfolio management. We do manage money. And I had an advisor who was down a different path, called our director of research and said, hey, this managed money thing, I want to learn a little bit more about it. And my partner called me up and said, hey, could you talk to this person? Yeah. And the more we started to talk, she is an amazing human being, really didn't have the financial knowledge necessary. But she runs an amazing circles, and I'm sure she'll allow me to tell you. She used to play on the LPGA tour. She's down in South Florida, and I said, "Would you like me to help you out with this stuff?" So we have a call every 2 weeks. I'm talking to her tomorrow, just about how to think of portfolios. How do you talk about talking about estate planning attorneys, getting estate planning attorneys, walking clients through different things, and what I think if she was on, what she would say is my practice is now less about caring about what the Chinese international stock is going to do and more about helping the clients. And it's interesting. She said she's got some clients who are like, how are you guys doing? Why are you guys doing better? And she's, we're just more consistent. And she's got that consistency. And very often I use the analogy of my golf game versus hers, which is totally different. So hers is, if she gets in the sand, she's going to get out of it fine. If I'm most likely going to fly it over the green. I occasionally can hit a good shot, but over time, she is going to whoop me. And I think, once again, when you're building portfolios, the way we build portfolios, I use a lot of those analogies. And she's got a lot of really cool stories of people she's played golf with.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and she's great. She's doing great. And she's going to be a couple things. We need more females in our business. And everybody, I think, would agree on that. Females look at things in a little different manner, not necessarily better or worse, although in a lot of cases I'd say better.
Too many people want to take. Too many people are looking for what's in it for them. And your career is a result of having given over the years versus taking out of it what you can.
Very nice comment. Thank you.
That's awesome. Listen, I want to leave our listeners with a little advice. Let's say somebody's looking at making that transition to an RIA or independent broker dealer, whatever that might be. Any advice you can give them when they're kicking tires on firms that they can be a part of?
Yeah. I think there's a couple things you want to do. First of all, I think you need to be a fit for the organization, right? Yeah. Look, and it's not that one is better or worse. It's just that, so NBC Securities, it's Southern Birmingham. It's a great organization. It fits my personality, the way they think of things, the way Frank Falkenberg's the founder of the company. And he is an amazing human being. And his whole thing is take care of the client. Like, that's it. Right. What does Frank say? Take care of the client. And so that's a great fit. You're going to have other ones that'll say, hey, we want to do, I don't know, brokerage. We want to do managed money. We want to sell insurance, whatever the case may be. I think you want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you agree with how they're doing it. And it's something you can go out and say, this is something I believe. Awesome. And I think that's the best thing. And then once again, you're going to have, throughout your career, you're going to have individuals you don't agree with. That's okay. Having different opinions is okay, but also make sure it's a comfortable place where you can find somebody to mentor you if you want and need it. You have the ability to give back to others. I just think that type of firm, to me, is a beautiful place to work.
Yeah, awesome. A little cultural fit, a comfortability where you don't feel like you're out of your element and you're serving your, I don't know, morals is not necessarily the word I want to use, but in that realm.
But the other thing I would say with that is, when it's not a fit.
Oh yeah, your body tells you.
And I was with some folks, and they were great people. It just what I did was not what they do, and it wasn't going to work. And I think same thing on investments. We know in the back of your mind, is this too good to be true? It's right. What you need is somebody to go, by the way, that's too good to be true. That's not really it. And so I think if you get in a situation like that and it's not going to work, don't beat your head against the wall all day. At some point, just go, this isn't going to work. You guys are great people. Let's move on. And because that's the other thing about this business, like with medicine, get back to the doctors and health and all the wonderful things that are going. You could be working into your 80s, 90s. This is a long career. And once again, it's wonderful. And if you're down the wrong path, just go back, make a left, and go the other way. It's not that big.
Yeah, lots of options.
And do it with grace, though, right?
Yeah.
Always with grace.
Yeah. Yep. Darren, you've got a lot of great advice for advisors who are looking at options in the industry. Do you mind if someone's got a question, they reach out to you?
Not at all. I can give you my email address if that works, or ping me on LinkedIn, whatever.
Yeah.
My email is dhinshaw, DHINSHAW, at NBCSecurities.com. That's Nancy Boy Charlie, Securities, IES.com. We're always here to talk to people. Once again, same thing with clients too, right? You want to make sure your clients are the right fit too. It's always going to be a fit. Yeah. If anybody has any questions, we'd love to talk to them. Not a problem.
Yeah, too often I hear, who's your ideal client? But they can fog a mirror, right? That's the old adage. And now, and young, when you're building a book, it's easy to follow the revenue, but you'll get to a point where you're comfortable financially. And that's a really great place to be, because then you can be choosy.
When I started in this business, I remember, and we were in California, the folks at the front desk said that when a client walked in, if they didn't know them, they would know which advisor they were with, because they said that each client had a say. They're like, oh, that's over. That's probably Brian's client. And it's the same thing. It's the fit, right?
Yeah.
And the important thing is once people communicate in different ways, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So find your fit, find what you're doing, and move forward.
Darren, you're awesome, man. I want to thank you again for spending some time with us today and bringing some of your knowledge and experience to our listening audience. For all of you who have tuned into another episode of RIA Collective, I want to thank you too, because your time is valuable. And I appreciate the opportunity to share good stories with good people. Darren, I wish you a great day. And thanks once again.
As well. Charlie, appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
You got it.